as South Africa's schools battle teacher shortages, overcrowded classrooms, and mounting administrative pressures, a quiet digital revolution is taking root. Now, from attendance tracking to parent communication, education platforms like D6 are helping schools modernize their operations, offering a glimpse into how technology is reshaping the country's education system behind the scenes. To discuss this further with us, we're joined by Willem Kitshoff, who's the CEO of D6 Group, who will unpack how digital tools are transforming school management and easing the pressure on educators. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Kitshoff. So South Africa's education system is facing multiple challenges as it is, from overcrowded classrooms to teacher shortages. How can technology realistically help ease these pressures?
So, yeah, thank you. It's obviously a discussion or a topic that we're very passionate about.
Yeah.
Maybe take it back to the importance, in our view, on effective leadership and management. If we look at business as a whole, you cannot run a successful business if you don't have effective leadership and management within that business. And we see schools almost as more complex organizations than most SMMEs in the country. They've got a large staff complement that they need to manage. There's terrain management. It's an incredibly difficult product that needs to be delivered, which is the curriculum. And then you've got an incredible, difficult customer base, which is a parent and a child to manage. And I think we expect these organizations to flourish, yet our view is that there's not enough emphasis being placed on school management and leadership and technology in order to support school management and leadership, in order to enable their teaching staff to flourish.
And just what trends are you seeing in how schools are adopting digital management platforms like D6?
We've seen quite a change, and schools innately is fairly resistant to change to a large extent. But we have seen that actually changing quite a bit over the last couple of years, where people start to realize the importance of having access to data in order to drive decision making. And that access to data can only be done if you have access to technology from a management and leadership perspective, in order to empower school management teams to actually drive data-driven decision making. So we've seen quite a big uptick in terms of adoption of management technology, and then also we do see a slight change in the perception of the general public to understand it is an important element to have from an effective leadership and management position. And we truly believe that if we want to build sustainability in schools in the future, we need to ensure that we equip management and leaderships with technology that they can support their staff, because else your foundation is potentially impaired.
And I think for maximum impact, this is a tool that should be able to benefit everyone. That takes me to my next question around accessibility. So many public schools still struggle with resources and connectivity. How do digital platforms reach schools in rural or under-resourced areas?
So if we take our philosophy in terms of what we design and how we build technology, we do assume that over time, connectivity is going to become a hygiene factor. Most people have access to, whether it's a 3D dongle or some form of access to some form of connectivity. And most of these management platforms are not heavy on data utilization. It is different when one looks at learner management systems, where you need to actually utilize technology to deliver learning. Because then video content, large amount of documentation and data that needs to flow, that's a different challenge. But from a managerial perspective, it is extremely data light. And we'd like to assume that in the future, connectivity should not be an issue. That is something that needs to be resolved. And we see that connectivity, most of the country has already started gaining access to connectivity.
So have you perhaps maybe soft launched this particular product, and what has the reception been like? Because you would hear that sometimes there's resistance to change.
Yeah, no, so resistance to change is a reality, and I think in any industry for that matter. We service more than 2,500 schools in the country. We enable about 3 million parents to gain access to relevant school-related information. And now with the dawn of AI that has approached, it creates so much interesting opportunities for us to equip schools with more the capability to utilize these software more effectively. So we're growing quite aggressively in terms of the adoption and utilization of what we have to offer, and it's driven by passion for the understanding of if we want to create sustainable schools in the future, we need to ensure that they're equipped with good leadership and management and technology that enables them, because else it's going to be a continuous grind.
And here's the thing, I like that you mentioned that, because there's a need for all of these initiatives to work like a hand-in-glove sort of situation, especially when it comes to schools, which would mean that teachers alike, learners alike, as well as parents alike would all have to be working together, essentially a hands-on-deck sort of approach, just moving forward with that. And when you look at and then factor in technology and how technology changes, shapes and shifts lives, and how it's also essentially just turning us into one global village, is this the change that we're ready for?
I believe so. I mean, if you think, or if you take any community, a school, in our view, acts almost as the center of the community. If the schools flourish, the communities flourish. If the schools struggle, you can actually see the impact in community also. And there's incredible ways from a technology perspective of what we've started to implement that support schools in all different, whether it's quintile 1 schools, which is the least affluent, versus quintile 5 schools, where we started to implement relevant AI tools in order to support, for instance, teaching staff to ensure that they can communicate more effectively with their parents through AI. So you can prompt the AI tool to say, please write me a letter to my parents stating that something's happening over the weekend, and the AI tool will then generate that for them. And then we've also started implementing AI for parents to ensure that parents can actually stay informed, because I think there's 2 things that we believe in. One is effective leadership and management is critical, but then you also need to ensure that parents are connected and parents are involved, because where parents are involved in what's happening within their school environment, those schools normally do better than where the parents are disengaged. So we believe communication and effective communication is critical for schools to remain sustainable. And we try to obviously support parents as far as we can through technology to ensure that they are kept up to date and involved and informed about what's happening within their school. And then something interesting that we're almost on the verge of launching is schools have incredibly large amounts of data that they need to manage. If you think of all the absenteeism, disciplinary, marks, financial related information, and it's very difficult for the school staff members to consume that information in an understandable way. So we're on the verge of launching our what we refer to as Assist AI, which you can ask the AI questions in terms of which learners are at risk, and it will identify the learners based on the underlying data to say, these few learners are at risk, and it can support the learners on a development path.
Right. Willem Kitshoff is CEO of the D6 Group. Thank you so much indeed for your time and insights on the program.